All right, everyone, we finished out with number 6 in the last video. We're going to move on into number 7. I am going to flip the page because I'm not going to have enough room to write this out entirely, so I'm going to go ahead and flip to the back of my page here, or you can continue on. So number 7 is the last thing that we have to worry about here, and this is selecting. So let me turn this to the side. Select open web steel joists. And the thing that we're going to take a look at is we need to look at this particular plan for here. So we got to look at what kind of beams do we want between column lines 8 and 9 and between column lines 9 and 10. Now when you look at this, the reason why we're going to have to choose two different types, we got one span here at 16 feet as they run this way, and we've got one span here at 20 feet as it goes between 9 and 10. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to specify. So I'm going to write between. I'll actually kind of fold this out. I think it's going to be easier to write with. Between column lines 8 and 9. So, and here I'm going to note that the span is 16 feet. Just to note that that's there. Okay. Between that, I'm going to go ahead and put, I need to pick an interior type beam for that, and for an exterior as well. Okay, now the document that you're going to need is the open web steel joist, and that document is in the resources tab, and it looks like this. So it has a yellow outline. It's probably the easiest thing. It's a PDF there. And the easiest way to read this is a huge document. Really all you need is page 1. And when you look at this, you're going to look at your span here on the left side. So I'm going to go down till I hit 16. Now the thing is I'm going to look at first, let's find our interior beam. So my interior beams have to be able to hold 329 pounds per foot. So the only numbers you're going to look at are these black numbers that are on the top. So the black numbers on the top are the loading that we have to look at. So the very first one's 246, that's an 8K1, not going to work. Here we got a 10K1, 329, not going to work. Here the next one we got is a 12K1 at 380. So here's the thing that I'm going to consider is that's the first one that I get to. The 12 is referring to the depth, so how deep it is as far as how far, like when you look up in the ceiling at Walmart, is how far do the, how tall are the ceiling joists. So next time you're in Walmart, you actually see open web steel joists up in the ceiling. So they're not covered, and that's exactly what you see in the store. So take a look next time that you're in there, whenever that may be. 380, and that's going to be the first one, because as you get into higher values, the more expensive they get, because the more material you got to make them. So here I'm going to use a 12K1, and here they give you the approximate weight in pounds per foot. So you can see the difference between a 12K1 and a 12K3. It's their weighting as they go through there. All right, so I want to go through for the interior, use a 12K1. Now the thing is that now we're going to look at the exterior. Now the exterior only has to hold 164.5 pounds per foot. So the big thing is on a 16-foot span, everyone says, why don't we use an 8K1? Because we're being really efficient. But if you take a look at the weight is 5.1 pounds per foot at an 8-foot depth. So the thing is to kind of consider is also there's a little bit of a design choice of making sure that these are going to match. So if you had different mismatched beams, it'd look kind of weird inside of the ceiling of a Walmart or another building that you had. So here what I'm going to do is 8K1, I'm going to go ahead and go to a 12K1. So that way the depth is going to match my interior beams, and it's going to have the same weight. Now I could go to 10K1 and have a less weight, but then they're not going to be the same size. So I'm going to go ahead and just say use a 12K1 joist on both of these, because then they'll both match each other. It's kind of a design aesthetic that they match, because it looks kind of off if they don't. And then this way that it goes through and also has the least amount of weight. Okay, next one we'll look at is between column lines 9 and 10. So the span here is 20 foot. And the ones that I'm going to end up finding as we go along. So again, we got to choose interior and we got to choose exterior. And looking at the beam span table, so in this time I'm going to change down to a 20-foot span, and it's the same kind of loading that we're going to end up looking at. So here I got to go across, find till I get to over 329. Now here I end up getting into a 12K5, but the thing is I want to look at some efficient designs. So here, if I start looking across, I could go through and go to a 14K3 and look at the weight difference. 12K5 is 7.1, the 14K3 is a 6. So I'm going to maybe go through and start looking and seeing is there any other beams that would work? So a 16K2 definitely covers 329, and it's a 5.5. It's even lower than that. So I probably want to go ahead and choose a 16K2 because it's got a lower weight. So if I go on up into the 16s, I really don't have anything that's any lower than that. But that's the weight. It's the lightest joist that I can do. So I'm going to go ahead and say use a 16K2 joist. Now, the same kind of thing is what I might do here, 16K2, that definitely holds my weight on 20 foot. Definitely holds my weight for the interior, but it will also hold my weight for the exterior as well. To make sure these match, I think I'm just going to go ahead and use the same type of beam. So then that way we've got the same matching. So it's the lowest kind of beam here. So use a 16K2 joist. So that's really where we're at with going through and selecting different beams and everything, because it's going to go through and make that happen really well. So that way they match, everything looks good, and we can go ahead and move on. All right, so next video I'll kind of detail a little bit about the Keystone Library, what calculation you'll do for it. Very similar to what you just did here for this school in Chicago, and this will get you finished with the e-learning lesson for today.